This happened to a guy named Tyler. He worked the overnight shift at a gas station in rural Ohio, middle of nowhere. 2 years on the job. Nothing ever happened out there, that was kind of the point. He liked the quiet, but one night in November, the quiet felt different. It was 3 a.m. dead cold outside, rain hitting the windows. Tyler hadn't seen a single car in over an hour. He was mopping the floor near the back when the bell above the door chimed. He looked up. A man walked in, tall, long dark coat, soaking wet from the rain. He didn't say anything, didn't look at Tyler, just walked slowly toward the back of the store. Tyler nodded and went back to mopping. 2 minutes passed. He looked up again. The man was standing at register 7. Now here's the thing about register 7. It had been broken for 6 months. There was literally a piece of tape over it that said, "Out of order" in big black letters. Tyler called out, "Hey sir, that register is closed. Come on up to the front." The man didn't move. Tyler set down his mop and walked toward him. "Sir." He got close enough to see the man's hands resting flat on the counter. They were completely dry, not a drop of rain on them. The man's coat was soaking. His shoes had left a trail of puddles on the floor all the way from the door. But his hands, bone dry, like he'd been standing there for hours. Tyler stopped walking. The man slowly turned his head toward him, and then every single light in the store went out, all at once. Total darkness. Tyler didn't move, didn't breathe. He stood in the dark for what felt like a full minute. When the emergency backup lights flickered on, dim orange, he was alone. No man. No wet footprints near the register. Nothing. But the out-of-order tape had been peeled off, and the register drawer was wide open. Empty. Tyler called his manager, clocked out, and never worked another night shift in his life. He still doesn't know what he saw that night. But he says the thing that scares him most isn't what happened, it's that he never heard the door chime when the man left. That story came from Ohio. This next one came from Chicago. Diana had been a hospital security guard for 11 years. She'd seen things most people couldn't handle. Code blues, overdoses, things that would break you if you let them. But the building itself never scared her. Until Wing C was the old pediatric ward. Closed for 3 years, budget cuts. No patients, no staff, just empty rooms and old beds and the smell of antiseptic that never quite went away. Diana walked that hall every single night at 2 a.m. as part of her rounds. It never took more than 5 minutes. She could do it in her sleep. Then one January night, she heard 3 knocks, slow, deliberate, coming from room 14, halfway down the hall. Her protocol was clear. Investigate, identify, report. She'd found people hiding in that wing before. It wasn't unusual. She pushed open the door to room 14. Empty. 2 old hospital beds. A child's crayon drawing still taped to the wall, curled at the edges, faded almost completely. She checked under the beds, checked the bathroom. Nothing. She stood in the middle of the room. Then, 3 more knocks. Same rhythm. From the wall right beside her. The wall between room 14 and room 15. She went to room 15, empty too. Diana pulled out her radio to call it in. That's when she looked at that drawing on the wall again. She'd walked past it dozens of times. She'd never actually looked at it. She stepped closer. It was a child in a hospital bed, crayon, stick figure. And standing beside the bed was a taller figure. Just standing there, watching. The taller figure had no face. Diana looked at the drawing for a long moment. Then she looked at the corner of the room. The dark corner her flashlight still hadn't reached. She made a decision right there. She did not point her flashlight at that corner. She walked out of Wing C, finished her shift, and filed a report that said, "Routine check, nothing found." She put in a transfer request the next morning. She got it. She never told her supervisor the real reason. She says if she names what she saw in that corner out loud, she'd have to accept it was real. So she keeps it to herself, and she sleeps a little better that way. Alright, third story. This one's different. This one doesn't have an explanation, not even a bad one. Marcus worked a toll booth on a rural highway in Pennsylvania. 4 years on nights, one road, one direction. If you think a gas station is isolated, a toll booth at 3 a.m. is something else entirely. Miles of dark forest on both sides, one cone of light. That's your whole world for 8 hours. Marcus said the worst part was never the isolation. It was when something broke the routine. Because when everything is always the same, even the smallest thing stands out like a siren. Tuesday night, October, 3:06 a.m. A red pickup truck came through his booth. Driver paid cash, didn't speak, drove on into the dark, standard. At 3:19 a.m., the same red truck came through again. Marcus figured the driver missed an exit, came back around somehow. It happened, he took the toll again. Driver still didn't say a word, drove on. 3:33 a.m. The truck came through a third time. Marcus leaned forward and looked at the driver. Same guy, same direction, always going forward, never coming back from the other side. Here's the problem. That road only goes one way from his booth. No U-turns, no exits for 12 miles. There is no way to come back around without driving past a second booth. And that booth hadn't logged the truck once. Marcus pulled up his camera footage. Same truck, same driver. 3 times, always going the same direction, going forward, never returning. 3:47 a.m. Headlights again. The red truck pulled up and stopped. The driver's window came down. Marcus leaned toward the glass. The driver looked at him, then looked at the road ahead, then back at Marcus and said quietly, "How many more times?" Marcus couldn't speak. The driver reached out and handed him exact change, the exact toll amount, without Marcus saying a word. Then he drove into the dark. Marcus hit the emergency button immediately. State police came within 20 minutes. They drove 12 miles in both directions. No truck, no driver, nothing. The toll records showed 3 transactions, 3:06, 3:19, 3:33. The 3:47 visit, the one where the man spoke to him, had no record in the system at all. No transaction, no camera timestamp, nothing, like it never happened. Marcus still works nights. Same booth, same highway. He says he hasn't seen the truck again, but every October, when the clock hits 3:06, he watches the road a little more carefully. Last story. And I want you to pay attention to this one because it's not just about what Rachel saw, it's about the rule she broke. Rachel worked overnight at a warehouse in Oregon. Big place. Rows of shelves that seem to go on forever. The kind of building where sounds echo from places you can't quite locate. The warehouse had a basement level, cold storage, overflow inventory, poor lighting, no cameras. Every single person on the night shift had heard the same rule before their first shift. Not from management, not from a written policy, from whoever trained them. Don't go to the basement alone. Not, don't go down there after a certain hour, not take a radio. Just simply, don't go alone, no explanation, no reason given. Just the rule. Rachel had followed it for 8 months without question. But the night her partner called in sick, she needed 1 box from the basement. 1 specific box. She could see exactly where it was on the inventory system. Row C, shelf 4. She told herself it would take 30 seconds. She took the stairs down, found row C, found shelf 4, found the box, picked it up, turned around. There was a woman standing at the end of the aisle. Still, completely still. Standing just where the light faded into shadow. Rachel said, "Hello, are you okay?" Nothing. "Hey, can I help you?" Nothing. Rachel took 1 step toward her. The woman took 1 step back, into the shadow, and was gone. Rachel ran, up the stairs, out the door, into the parking lot. She called her supervisor immediately. He came. They went back down together and searched every inch of that basement. Every door was locked from the inside. Every window was sealed shut. The only way in or out was the 1 staircase. The cameras outside the building showed no one entering or leaving all night, except Rachel. Her supervisor stood there in the middle of the basement for a long moment. Then he looked at her and said, very calmly, "This is why we don't go down there alone." Rachel asked him what that meant. He didn't answer. He just walked back up the stairs. She gave her notice 2 weeks later. And she said the thing that stuck with her, the thing she thinks about more than the woman in the shadows, is that her supervisor wasn't surprised. Not even a little. Like he'd had this conversation before, like he'd been waiting for it. 4 people, 4 nights they can't explain. Night shift workers report unexplained experiences at a higher rate than almost any other group. Researchers say it's sleep deprivation, isolation, the brain playing tricks in the dark, maybe. Or maybe the world between midnight and 4 a.m. just operates by different rules. If you've worked nights and experienced something you can't explain, drop it in the comments. We read every single one, and some of them become the next video. Like this video and subscribe if you haven't. New horror stories every week, and maybe leave a light on tonight.